So The Eternals is officially the worst Marvel movie in history. It is the worst rated Marvel movie in history. Even the critics and Disney, of course, trying to pay off the critics, give movies good reviews, it seems that now even that isn't working anymore. I was kind of going to try to be more optimistic about this movie a couple of weeks ago, but it seems that even the critics don't like it, calling The Eternals boring. Whereas if the movie is that boring, why would I want to watch it? But sadly, because of course Disney of course will try to make sure certain number of critics like the movie, it still is above a 60% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is more proof that Disney pays off critics to give their movies good reviews. And people say Disney doesn't do that. Disney is a perfect company. Yeah, we know. Disney is the greatest company. You don't have to remind us, anymore. Disney is not a perfect company, and they make a lot of bad choices. They make a lot of bad choices that have hurt them in the past couple of years. For example, making Black Widow dual streaming release. It's not as bad as Warner Bros. Choice to make every release dual streaming release, but yeah, they did that, and it was a big colossal failure. And the Eternals is gonna probably lose money for Disney. And I just find it funny I just find it funny. Guess who's in the movie? Of course, Angelina Jolie, one of the worst actresses of all time. I know people will be angry when I say that statement, but it's true. Name a good movie she has been in. I'll wait. I will literally wait. And don't say that City Tomb Raider movie either, cause that isn't a good movie either. Name one good movie she has been in. I'll wait. But let's go on further about the Eternals. There isn't really much though about again, the plot of the movie is very similar to those 4chan plots that have been going around. But even the critics don't like this movie, which dashes Marvel's hope of getting anything at a golden man, like they almost got with Black Panther. It seems that even the critics don't like it. And in order for a movie to be considered for the Oscars, the critics have to like it. Because most of those people are the people who rate movies in the Oscars. Good. But this seems, let's compare the Eternals to other movies that are coming out. Let's look at Dune, okay? A movie that is probably going to make less money than the Eternals. Because, of course, Marvel has a big grip over the movie industry, especially Disney. Dune has an 8.3 out of 10, and 84% of Rotten Tomatoes and 74% on Metacritic. Let's look at Ghostbusters Afterlife, which according to reviews is a pretty good movie. Ghostbusters Afterlife is currently at a 7.9 out of 10 and 37% on Rotten Tomatoes. That means Ghostbusters Afterlife by default is a better film than The Eternals already is. And let's kid you not. Let's look at the original Justice League. Not Zack Snyder's version, the original Justice League. The Eternals is basically around the original Justice League numbers in terms of IMDb score. And that's absolutely pathetic, because the original Justice League, not the Zack Snyder version, the original version of this movie, that was released in the theaters, well, guess what? The Eternals is the same score as the Justice League. I wouldn't be surprised if this movie falls below. The Eternals falls below Justice League. And that would be a big laughing stock for Marvel. I defended Black Widow and Shang-Chi, but I'm not going to defend the Eternals just because the fandom menace is criticizing it. The Eternals deserves every single little thing it does to be criticized by it. It's a boring pile of shit movie. Everybody is saying that, not just the fandom menace. The critics are saying it is. The fans are saying it's garbage. And this is another movie that is very much hated. Birds of Prey, or as I call it, Turds of Prey. Because that's what this movie is. It's a fucking pile of turds. Guess what? The Eternals are going to probably fall this movie too. And that's absolutely laughable. And why am I comparing this to superhero movies, like besides Ghostbusters Afterlife and Dune? Because these are two very unwell received superhero movies. Birds of Prey is very much hated by a lot of people, which is why they completely ignored Birds of Prey and the Suicide Squad, because they know that movie's a pile of shit and deserves to be ignored. And same thing with the original Justice League. That movie's a pile of shit and deserves to be ignored, and that's why we got the much better Zack Snyder version in. Okay? Yeah. And the Eternals are likely to get a lower score than this movie. And that's laughable to say at least. Yes, it won't be like Batman vs. Robin, where absolutely everybody hates Batman vs. Robin, but here's the thing about the Eternals. The movie isn't even out yet, and the score is already this low. The score is already at 6.2. On Rotten Tomatoes, where I bet the audience score will be rigged as always, has at a 63. People say, a 63, that's not that bad. That's not that bad of a score for modern movies. But do you realize this is the lowest score on Rotten Tomatoes? Yeah, I bet all the paid Disney sale critics will come in later to save this movie, because that's what they're gonna do. Disney's gonna try everything they can do to save the Eternals. Because everybody and the dog knows this is a pile of shit, a pile of garbage. They're also gonna probably pour on the bots when the movie comes out to give this movie a 7 out of 10 on IMDb. I can't wait till they do that, because we all know Disney's gonna try to make sure every way possible flooding the scores of bot reviews on Metacritic, on Rotten Tomatoes, and on, of course, IMDb to boost the movie's scores. That's exactly what happened to Captain Marvel. Disney forced Rotten Tomatoes to change the entire algorithm of Rotten Tomatoes for Captain Marvel. For a movie that is a pile of turds, that is a pile of garbage. But of course, Disney tried everything to do they can save the great female superhero that literally nobody likes. Literally, and especially the actress. She is probably one of the most hated actresses outside of Amber Heard, who is a literal abuser. So yes, I do not support the Phantom Menace, but I also don't support Captain Marvel. I also don't support the Eternals. That's why there's people called independents, because independents can think for themselves. I can like Black Widow. Doesn't mean I have to be a part. Doesn't mean I'm a bad person. According to the Phantom Menace, if you like the Black Widow movie, you're like a heinous, horrible person. You're literally Hitler if you like the Black Widow movie, which is absolutely absurd. But again, Captain Marvel was, unlike Black Widow, this movie was saved from having the same score as Wonder Woman 1984 by Brie bots, and of course the typical Disney bot army that comes out every single time a Disney movie releases. So how magically gets to 7.0, with the exception of Mulan, which I think even Disney gave up on that movie, which is why the movie scored so low compared to every other Disney live-action remake. But every single Disney movie comes out, there's always a slew of bots that come out to protect the movie. And yeah, some of these movies may be good, like Wire, but movies like Cruella, which everybody says is boring and mediocre, which means the scores should be around 6.1 or 6.2. But of course, because of the slew of Disney bots, the movie was of course saved on IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes and Metacritic. Same thing is the stacked contrast between the IMDb scores and Metacritic. According to Metacritic, Captain Marvel has a 2.9. Despite this, Disney tried to defend movies like Captain Marvel and The Last Jedi, and people are starting to see through these lies that Disney puts out, these absolutely absurdities that Disney puts out. Absolutely absurd. And this is just the end. I think the Eternals is going to be the beginning of the end for Marvel. It seems for once the Phantom Menace is correct for once. And I actually agree with them for once. The Eternals might be the beginning of the end for Marvel. Okay? the Eternals will still probably grow 70 to 80 million because, of course, the Marvel fanboys are going to go out and see it, and it likely will have an opening higher than 70 million. But even then, all that matters is the legs. If it gets beaten by Clifford the Big Red Dog, then we're just gonna have a laugh party at the Eternals at this point. Because who asked for a Clifford the Big Red Dog movie? Yeah, that's right. Nobody. And the Eternals. We're going back to the Eternals. I bet the score is probably not gonna stay. All the Disney bots are gonna come in and give it good reviews. I wouldn't be surprised if that's what happens at the Eternals. The Eternals is the only Marvel movie I don't want to see, and that's saying something out of this year. Yeah, I don't care about Black Panther 2 and 4 Love and Thunder, but the Eternals, there's no hype for this movie. No hype for this movie. Yes, Angelina Jolie's fans will come out and see this movie, but normal people, I think, are going to sit this one out. I wouldn't be surprised if Dune has better legs than the Eternals, which will also be a big slap in the face to a pile of turds that Marvel decided to excrete from the bottom. So yep, the Eternals will be a pile of dung that, Marvel's gonna try to probably sludge under the rug. And it is considered the worst Marvel movie. Let's compare this to For the Dark World. For the Dark World came out in 2013. It's considered better than the Eternals. Even on IMDb. The movie's, of course, titled Captain Marvel, but it is considered the worst Marvel movie, besides Captain Marvel, by basically every Marvel fan. But, of course, that's just the truth. The Eternals just sucks. I predicted a long time ago, if Marvel's first flop, if the first Marvel movie likely to flop, it will likely be the Eternals. Because who the fuck gives a fuck about the Eternals? Nobody. Thor and Thunder won't probably flop, even though it's a pro-woman movie. And Doctor Strange likely won't flop because his character is popular. Black Panther won't flop because, of course, the same audience who went to make the first movie and make $1 billion will go see the movie again. Will go see the sequel. Captain Marvel will probably do much better. Even Captain Marvel 2 or the Marvels will probably do better than the Eternals. Which will just be and the Eternals will be the laughingstock for the MCU for years to come. And that's basically about this video. Goodbye.